Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. Texting girls after you get their number is way easier than you think. The problem, though, is that you've been conditioned to think, you've been brainwashed by Tinder, by dating apps in general, by this culture of like sliding into the DMs and, not being a dry texter. You've been brainwashed by all of that to think that when you text girls, you have to be this clever, comedian, this entertainer, be this perfect, clever guy, simply just to like get a girl to like you. So you overthink every text to try to be this perfect, clever, funny guy. And that's the exact mindset that's actually holding you back from going on more dates with girls that you find attractive. There's two different realities when it comes to dating, and it's the dating app reality, and then there's reality. And most of us young men, especially like in our 20s and 30s, we're sort of stuck in that dating app reality because that's just what we grew up with, right? We grew up with phones and social media and dating apps. That's what everybody goes to first. The thing is, in the dating app reality, you do need to be interesting when you text girls. And why is that? Well, it's because you're not the only one texting a girl, okay? If a girl is using dating apps, bro, she's got so many other guys in her DMs, and you're just one of the little options she has out of like fucking dozens of guys that are texting her at the exact same time. Okay, this is the reality of dating apps. So it's true. If you're boring on dating apps, she's not going to respond. Okay, good luck getting a response from a girl if you text her, "Hey, how are you?" But that's the dating app reality. Reality is a lot different, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. In actual reality, when you approach a girl, you immediately make eye contact with her. She sees you for who you are. Maybe you make her smile. Maybe you make her laugh. You get to know her a little bit, right? This already puts you so much further ahead of all the guys in her Tinder DMs or her Instagram DMs because you've actually established a real life connection with her, and that's always going to be stronger than, some random, string of text on a dating app from a guy, right? And because of all that, texting a girl in real life after you've approached her is so much easier than trying to win her over through Tinder DMs and through Instagram, sliding into DM stuff. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in this video today is how you could text a girl after you've approached her that naturally leads to a date without the overthinking, without the overcomplicating it for yourself, stressing out, going to ChatGPT, asking for like, what's a good opening line or whatever. This is hands down the easiest way to get a date with a girl that you like. I personally learned this the hard way. I'm in my mid-20s now, but for most of my life, like in college and in my early 20s, I was using dating apps, which I honestly regret. I was on Tinder and Hinge and Bumble and all that stuff. And I should have been going to parties. I should have been being more social. But back then, I was pretty socially anxious and I just didn't know how to go to parties and talk to girls and all that stuff. So I was just retreating into my phone. I barely had any good photos of myself, so matching with girls on Tinder and Hinge and all that stuff was pretty rare. Like I didn't really match with girls that often. My photos were blurry, they sucked. So when I did match with a girl, it was such a rare occasion, like once every, I don't know, like 2 weeks or something, I would like match with a girl that I actually liked. It was such a rare occasion that I was like, oh fuck, like I can't fuck this up. Like this has to be the perfect conversation. I have to message her the perfect thing. I have to fucking give her the perfect response because if I fuck this up, then it's going to be another, 2 to 3 weeks before I match with another girl that I like. And that's how I lived my life for many, many years, honestly. This is how a lot of guys, unfortunately, live their lives, right? They just use dating apps, and dating apps are pretty depressing. So there's kind of two problems here with the dating app stuff, right? Number one, the first problem is that you're not really matching with that many girls, right? So because of that, when you do match with a girl, like every 2 to 3 weeks, you feel like you need to be perfect because you kind of do. Like that's the reality of dating apps. You do need to stand out when there's like a dozen other guys texting her at the same time. The biggest shift for me personally, how I realized what I'm about to teach you in this video, is I started approaching more women. I deleted my dating apps. I started approaching women in real life. And it took some time to realize this. It kind of took some time to tweak. But after I would approach a girl in real life, I would have a pretty simple conversation with her. It wasn't anything crazy. And I have other videos on how to approach women in real life. And I'll link it somewhere here. You could click on that if you're interested. I would text those girls very simple things and then basically ask them out pretty quickly. I wouldn't try to be clever and funny and, interesting and try to win them over because I realized that like I've already won them over. I've already done something that puts me way further ahead of all the guys in her Tinder DMs, which is I've actually met her in real life. And that's the advantage that you get with approaching women, is that you could actually establish a real life connection with any girl that you see. And establishing a genuinely like good connection with a girl, it won't happen all the time because you naturally just don't vibe with everybody that you're going to meet. It's not your fault. That's just the nature of reality. But establishing a good connection with a girl, even if it's like 2 to 3 minutes of conversation, will always put you ahead of some random guy who matched with her on Tinder while he was taking a shit. So through approaching and through just meeting more women, right? Not just every 2 to 3 weeks matching with a random girl, but actually going out and talking to women basically every day of my life for like a year or two. I realized this over time. Securing dates through text isn't about being clever and entertaining and funny and being this perfect guy. It's more about being straightforward and direct and actually proposing a time and a place to meet up with each other. It's really that simple. And I want you to understand this. If you approach a girl and she gives you her number, she's already interested, at least a little bit. You've already won her over. Your job with her phone number is just to keep things straightforward and just to smoothly transition into actually seeing each other on a real date. View texting as the natural transition to actually setting up a date and seeing her in real life. Okay, that's the ultimate goal of texting. Okay, it's not to become her texting buddy. It's not to, be a comedian, right? She has TikTok for that if she wants that. Your job as a man is to actually set up a time and a place to see her. So I'm going to share 3 secrets that you need to understand if you want to text girls less and go on more dates. That's the whole point of this. I want to keep this simple so that you could actually go on more dates and not waste time on your screen just fucking making your eyes all dry and red. So obviously what I'm saying is kind of against the grain, right? I'm saying you should just text her pretty simple stuff just to set up the date. Don't worry about being a comedian or being interesting. Don't even worry about being entertaining. Just set up the date with her. But texting boring, simple, straightforward stuff isn't gonna work unless you ask her out on a date within the first like 3 to 4 texts that you send. You want to make it that soon, okay? And I know this is probably fucking mind shattering for most of you guys because we're so used to like being this like texting buddy, okay? I used to be in your shoes. I used to like just text girls all the time and never actually ask her out on a date. And that is where most guys fuck up, is that they just text girls nonstop and never actually take the leap of like, hey, like, are you free this Friday for drinks? Because you're too afraid of rejection, maybe. Maybe you think that you need to naturally like escalate it into somehow like just smoothly escalate it into going on a date or something. But really, it's more about being direct and blunt. Like, hey, are you free this Friday for drinks? Like just being direct and blunt about it instead of like trying to smoothly transition into maybe asking her out on a date. But again, being direct and blunt and straightforward about it is only going to work if you do it within the first few texts. Because if you're just being boring and direct through texting, but then you never actually ask her out on a date, then she's for sure just going to get bored with you. Like if you're just giving her these like random, like tiny, boring responses, right? So the goal is to ask her out on a date or to propose a time and a place to go on a date pretty much within the first like 2, 3 to 4 texts that you send her. In my community natural confidence lab, I actually have like real life screenshots of texts that I would send girls. If you want to go check that out just to see like what I actually text girls to go on dates. It's honestly pretty simple and the link is down below. You can go check that out. Secret number 2 is that if you've approached her and gotten her number, you've already won her over, dude. You approaching her in the middle of the day has already done the heavy lifting for you as far as like impressing her goes. She's already very impressed by you. Most men do not have the confidence to do this. So she knows that you're a guy who actually takes action. You're not a guy who just like texts nonstop and never actually asks her out on a date. No, you're a guy who saw her and said, fuck it, I'm going to walk up to her because I want to. She sees you as a guy who does shit, who takes action. That's always going to be more attractive to a woman. That's like honestly one of the most attractive qualities that a man can have is a guy who just does shit. He takes action. He's a doer, not a talker. Because the truth is, bro, girls don't want you to be their texting buddy. They don't. When you're in high school, it kind of feels like that, right? Like when you're in high school and college, it kind of feels like, okay, maybe we just have to text or something. But dude, in real life, when you're actually like ready to go on dates with women, girls don't want you as a texting buddy. They actually want to go out there and talk to you in real life, go on a date with you. So don't worry about impressing her through text if you've approached her, because if you've approached her and gotten her number, she's already really impressed by you. I'm not going to lie, dude. Girls are very impressed by men who approach them. Which leads me into secret number 3. I want you to realize that if you've approached a girl and gotten her number, you immediately move up to the top of her list. So even if she's matched with, a few guys on Tinder and they're funny and they're clever and they're texting her like random things, they don't really matter as much because just on a human level, she's never even made eye contact with these guys. But at least with you, she's made eye contact with you, and yet maybe you weren't as funny or clever as these guys. But women don't really even find that funny and cleverness shit that interesting in the first place. Like, it's fun for them to have a texting buddy, but overall, a guy who takes action and does shit and who is confident in themselves is way more attractive to a woman than just some guy in her Tinder DMs. So because you're basically on the top of her list, you can just go ahead and ask her out pretty quickly. And bro, once you start doing this and you start having success with this, like actually approaching women and then asking them out through text within the first like 2 to 3, 4 texts that you send them, bro, I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna start looking down a little bit on all the guys that use Tinder and all that other stuff because you're like, dude, why are you guys overcomplicating it? It's really so simple. That's what you're gonna be thinking. Start prioritizing human relationships and human interaction. We all want more of that. It might seem like people don't want that, but dude, I think everybody's just afraid of actually doing it. Women are afraid to talk to guys. Guys are afraid to talk to girls in real life. It's like everybody wants more human interaction in their life, but everyone's just sort of like locked in their like digital prison and everyone's just fucking texting and stuff. You can be that difference, okay? Start approaching women and actually text them, not to be their texting buddy so that you could, rack up more screen time hours on your phone, but actually text them like, hey, like, are you free this Friday for drinks? That's going to be so refreshing for her. And it's even going to be beneficial for you, like mentally, because you're going to tell yourself, look, I'm not here to text girls and be their texting buddy. I'm here to actually see them. And you take some of that ownership back, right? Like that fucking feeling of pride in yourself where you're like, yeah, like I'm not here to just impress her and get down on one knee for her. Like, no, I'm going to actually get what I want out of this, which is I want to see her in real life, dude. So you can just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to ask her out through text very quickly within the first 2 to 3 texts that I send. And if she's interested, cool. If she's not interested, then awesome. Then that's a girl that I don't need to be spending time with, texting back and forth, like sending memes or whatever. In my community Natural Confidence Lab, I actually have screenshots of texts that I've sent girls to actually set up dates with them. The whole point of all of this is just to reduce your screen time overall, talk to more people in real life, especially women, prioritize human interaction, like real life human interaction, and just delete all those apps, dude. The fucking apps suck. So my community is just a natural transition for all the guys that want to go through this journey that I just described of deleting your dating apps, reducing your screen time, prioritizing human interaction with women and other people in general. But you're not going to be doing it alone, okay? There's going to be me, there's going to be other guys in the community that are also going through the same exact journey, and all the information inside there, all of the support that you're going to get inside there is ultimately going to help you live a more enjoyable life. And that's kind of the whole point of this channel and my community as well, just to help you be more socially free and live a more enjoyable life, because we only live